and welcome to my Bolte UV. I'm Jim, and we're going from point A to point B. Climb in. Let's go. This episode is entitled The Specifications. And with that, let's just knock off the three most important questions right out of the gate. The battery is 65 kilowatt hours. The EPA range is 247 miles, which is about 397.5 kilometers. Acceleration from 0 to 60 in 7 seconds flat. And for the record, that is faster than the 1990 Corvette. For today, please stick around through the whole video because we have a lot of information to cover. We're going to talk about performance, battery information, the dimensions of the car, the charge port, some of the other important specifications, the energy economy, the dreaded battery replacement, the economics of carbon, and I have some pointers and tips for you as well. First, let's talk about performance. The Bolte UV is not a slouch. It has a 201 horsepower engine, 265 feet-pound of torque. It uses one motor that's front-wheel drive, and it'll shoot a quarter mile in about 15.5 seconds. Let's face it, the battery's the heart of the car. It's a lithium-ion unit with 68 kilowatt hours gross, 65 kilowatt hours usable. The battery has 288 cells broken up into 10 modules. It's a 350 volt system and it weighs in at 978 pounds or about 443.6 kilograms. The battery is cooled by water-based technology. Well, how big is it? The Bolt is 169.5 inches long, that's 430.5 centimeters, 105-inch wheelbase, 267 centimeters. It's 63.6 inches tall, 161.5 centimeters. It's 69.7 inches wide, which is 177.1 centimeters, and it weighs in at 3,680 pounds, which is 1,669.2 kilograms. Let's talk a little bit about the charge port. They only build the Bolte UV with a CCS, which is a combined charging system connector, which combines this J1772 AC connector with the DC fast charge connection. The AC charger is actually on board the car itself. It's built in, it's an 11.5 kilowatt hour charger. But you need a 50 amp control unit to deliver that level of AC power to the onboard charger. I have a 32 amp charger and regularly get about 7 kilowatt hours of charging, which is about 26.5 miles per hour. A word of caution to you though, if you have a Tesla destination charger with an adapter, most adapters are only rated at 250 volts and 40 amps. But Tesla destination chargers are regularly either 50 amp or 80 amp and will overload your adapters by quite a bit. The coefficient of drag is 0.0308 and is worse in states where you need a front plate on your car, but I digress. It's still almost as good as a bullet. Some of the other important specs: the drive motor is a magnet type. In other words, it does not use windings like older electric motors do. You can get up to 70 kilowatts of regen braking off of one of these motors. The front brakes are 11-inch discs, vented. The rear brakes are 10-inch discs. The front suspension is an independent McPherson strut, and the rear suspension is a semi-independent torsion bar system. Alright, let's talk about the energy economy a bit. 4.12 miles per kilowatt hour in the city, 3.44 miles per kilowatt hour on the highway, 3.8 miles per kilowatt hour combined, and a gallon of gas is equal to 33.7 kilowatt hours of equivalent power. You can see that these things are beasts when it comes to energy economy. Alright, let's talk a little bit about battery pack replacement. That's the number one thing people complain about. I'll leave this slide up there for a while if I can, but when you compare the Bolt EUV to a Trax, when it comes time to replace the battery, you will have saved enough money to not only replace the battery, you'll have about $5,000 left over. But here is a startling statistic. The battery will still have 90% of its capabilities when it reaches 150,000 miles, and still be about 75% of its capacity at 250,000 miles. The question is, at what point do you replace the battery? 80% degradation? 60%? There are several EVs out there with more than 500,000 miles and going strong. The bottom line is these batteries are robust and are expected to last upwards of 20 years, possibly more. Here's another slide that I'll try to leave up there for a while. The bottom line is the Bolt EV at 250,000 miles is more than 66% better at lowering carbon emissions. But the numbers you see do not take into consideration some of the power that's going into the EV is coming from a renewable. 20% of the power here in the Orlando area comes from solar. The ICE numbers also don't take into consideration the refining, delivering, and pumping of the gasoline into the tank. Those are all energy sources. The battery electric vehicle numbers are actually lower than those shown, and the ICE numbers are actually higher than those shown. And one other statistic that we need to talk about for carbon emissions: for every 1 million ICE vehicles removed from our roads, the carbon emissions will decrease by 81.6 million tons minimum. Switch our nation to solar, wind, and nuclear, and eliminate ICE cars, and the only carbon emissions we'll have will come in from our breathing. When you look under the hood of a Bolt or a Bolt EUV, it's not pretty, but do check under your hood. Check the fluids, look for frays in the electrical cables, look for cracks on the connectors, make sure everything is tight. Also, my fuse box cover was not clicked into place when I got the car. Don't know where this happened, but it's a good idea to check that because water incursion into the fuse box could be costly. Check your J1772 power connector, both ends and everything from the plug to the car. Make sure everything is in good shape. Thanks for sticking around until the end. If you are still here, please be sure to subscribe, share, comment, and like. And if you want to know when I publish new videos, click the notification bell. I'll be back soon with another update. Until then, be careful and stay safe out there.